Hi everyone, it's Sunday, October 16th, time for another HideNet Week in Review. I'm Vera Dordick. So let's start with Europe again this week, where the market is still blocked and prices are unchanged because no sales are being concluded. Our editor Andrea Guolo says that demand from China has cooled off there, and although it seems like prices are stable, they really are not. In the UK and Ireland, prices were unchanged as they were everywhere, and while some claimed to buy at lower prices, if those sales did take place, they were not with direct sources. The British 36 plus ox remains at 85 cents to 90 cents per kilo in sterling, and sales of the Irish one are at €1 per kilo. Looking at European bulls, things do not seem promising, and that's because production is rising while demand is apparently going in the other direction. Like everything else this week, northern German bulls are unchanged at €1.10 to €1.25 per kilo for the 40 kilo plus selections. European cows were also unchanged across the board, and the outlook for these is also rather bearish. And finally, in the veal sector, not surprisingly, skins are maintaining their high price levels. In his analysis this week, Andrea looks at what's going on with sales negotiations as well as the reasons for the current price situation. Now, turning to the US, it was another so-so week as sellers noted that it was a little quieter than the week before. Also, actually, producers offered very little, which was attributed partly to being well sold, but also the APLF fair coming up in Bangkok this week, and some sellers are traveling in Asia. Looking at heavy Texas steers, trading was again pretty limited during the week, and the price range was $26 to $28 for 62-64 pound selections. And as we noted last week, cow prices had sagged recently, but again this week, sellers said they could keep price levels steady and move enough hides. Looking at the export totals for the week ending October 6th, combined export sales were worse than last week at 449,000. And when it comes to shipments, those were also surprisingly low, given that they've been really good for a number of weeks. This 100. The estimated slaughter for the week ending Saturday the 15th of October was the same, was not far off of the same as last week at 660,000, just 4,000 hides fewer. From South America, editor Ronald Guial reports that both raw material and TR1 prices declined yet again this week. This time, fresh hides were down 8 cents, selling for $1.43 per kilo. The reference price of tea is now selling at 70 cents per square foot in dollars. Argentina actually also saw some raw material declines. In other news from Brazil, the country's exports of hides and skins in September dropped to 106.9 million, and that is a decrease of just over 13% compared to the same month in 2021. And that September figure is, however, an increase of 1.5% over August. The CIBC analysis says that in square meters, the shipments in September were down by 3% compared to last September, but they were almost 5% over July. For the first 3 quarters of the year in value, exports totaling were down 7.6% compared to last year, and measured in area, they were almost 19% lower. From elsewhere in Latin America, Argentina's slaughter is continuing to steadily increase. In Chile, the fashion CPI is far below the general price CPI. In Mexico, supply shortages are easing for the Guanajuato footwear sector. In Paraguay, Grupo Chagra is going to build a refrigeration plant with some Asian partners. And in Uruguay, the fashion sector remains among the least affected by inflation this year. That is all we have for tonight. And until next week, good night from HideNet.